Chapter 31 Knight Rider vs the Beast of Imitation Sound. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After seeing Batman transform, people were losing their minds. Luffy, whoa. Talk about a makeover. That armor is off the chain. Usopp, now that's what I call a man's gotta do. Naruto, heck yeah. Seriously awesome. Tony Stark, okay, I'll admit it's a little cooler than my Mark armor. Just a smidge. But I'm way more curious about the tech. How'd that belt pop out of the mirror? And what's the deal with the monster? How does he even put on the suit? Tony was buzzing with questions. This transformation was seriously bending reality. Thor, more magic. Asgard's got plenty of enchanted trinkets like that. Ancient One, the screen said it was a contract with a bonded beast. So the armor's probably powered by that giant bat. Definite magic. Diana, Bruce Wayne better watch out. Contracts with monsters always come with a price. Meanwhile, back at Arkham Asylum, it was total pandemonium. The mimic beasts were chowing down on anyone they could find. Guards were scrambling, guns blazing, trying to hold them off, but to make things even worse, a bunch of inmates saw their chance and bolted, turning the chaos up to 11. The mimic beasts didn't care, though. Guards, inmates, it was all just food to them. It wasn't old Jenkins. It's a mimic beast, snap, star. Before the guard could react, his head was ripped clean off, blood gushing everywhere. The mimic beast didn't even flinch at the blood, it was just loving the feeling, busy with its meal. The mimic beast didn't notice the figure forming in the glass nearby. Inside the glass, Knight Rider was ready to roll, but outside of the mirror, the monster was totally clueless. Batman leaped out. Sword swinging, thwack, star, the blade sliced through the mimic beast's head like butter. The mimic beast never saw it coming. Alfred, got the recording? Batman asked into his comm. Back in the Batcave, Alfred was glued to his high-tech monitoring gear, recording Knight Rider's combat data. Loud and clear. That's 3 down, sir. But where did this armor come from? And what are these creatures? It's complicated. I can't explain it all now. I'll fill you in later. Batman didn't know where to start. Right. Well, based on the data, that sword of yours is seriously sharp. But your strength is the real story. We're talking at least 10 tons of force. Plus, your ability to jump in and out of the mirror makes you virtually untouchable. You're basically the ultimate assassin now. Alfred crunched the numbers and delivered the verdict. Excellent. Keep collecting data. Batman got back to work, while the dark-winged bat flew out of the mirror and dragged the mimic beast's corpse back inside. The bonded beast needs to feed on life energy. After observing it, Batman understood how the dark-winged bat operated. Good thing there were plenty of monster corpses lying around for it to chow down on. Human corpses, though. Roar, not just as Batman was thinking, a roar shattered the air. 5 or 6 mimic beasts were closing in, covered in blood from their recent feast. So, we're still on the menu, huh? Time to test out my frontal assault and card abilities. Batman grabbed a card, slid it into the card summoner. Enemy approaching. A monotone, digital voice announced. Batman instantly multiplied into 8 clones and charged at the mimic beasts. In under a minute, Batman had wiped them all out. It was a swift, decisive beatdown that had everyone watching on the edge of their seats. Jiraiya, this Batman guy's got some serious martial arts skills. If he had chakra, he'd be a top-tier taijutsu master, maybe even better than Guy. Zoro, that swordsmanship is insane. I gotta fight him. Strange, I'm more interested in that card. Was that a magical summoning? Mordo, it looks like they've sealed a magic effect into the card, so anyone can use it. Pretty much magic powered by tech. Tony Stark, haha. So it's magic and technology, all rolled into one. Fascinating. Knight Rider's abilities were like a glimpse into a brand new world for Tony. Magic and technology working together, and the Marvel Universe already has magic. He could build something similar. Looks like I need to get in touch with some of these mages. Cough. Tony doubled over, coughing, and remembered his palladium poisoning. Crap. I gotta get rid of this. I've got too much to do. That while everyone was geeking out over Knight Rider's skills, Batman had slipped back into the mirror world to hunt down the remaining mimic beasts. How was he finding them? Simple, he was using Wayne Enterprises satellites to scan Arkham for the mimic beast's thermal signatures. Alfred was feeding him the coordinates. Batman went back into the mirror world and hopped on the Darkwing Bat for a ride. Inside the mirror world, there were no buildings to get in the way, so Batman was moving fast. He kept taking out mimic beasts left and right, saving a few people from becoming lunch in the process. Damn it! He actually got out. Back on the first floor, Batman stared at the empty cell, door ajar, his face grim. Supervillains like the Joker, Bane, Poison Ivy, and Two-Face were locked up in there. Now they'd use the chaos as a distraction to escape. He didn't know whether they'd been eaten by the mimic beasts or made it outside. Part of him secretly hoped they'd been Monster Chow, saving him from breaking his no-kill rule. Master, the remaining mimic beasts are in the basement. I'm on my way. Batman took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Dead or alive, I'm bringing you all back. Chapter 32 The First Final Arrival. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Batman was about to descend, a voice stopped him. You're Batman? That it was a guard, eyeing him with confusion. How did you recognize me? Batman asked, equally puzzled by the guard's recognition despite his altered appearance. I wasn't sure at first, but then I saw the giant bat. Turns out, Batman really does raise bats. The guard was clearly shocked. Batman shook his head, resigned, and walked on. Gotham would definitely have some new urban legends about him after this. Entering the mirror world, Batman quickly moved down, punching through the building's floors to save time. Attacking with this much force should create significant recoil, but I feel nothing. What is this armor made of? I need to study it later and see if mass production is possible. Batman, a professor with multiple degrees, couldn't suppress his scientific curiosity at the sight of the armor's unique properties. Reaching the bottom level of Arkham Asylum, he peered into the real world through the mirror. The scene was a bloodbath. The main hall was littered with corpses, guards and inmates alike. Some of the dead criminals were even old acquaintances, the Mad Hatter, the Puppet Master, Dr. Hugo. But no sign of the Joker, Two-Face, or the Riddler yet. Several sound-mimicking beasts roamed among the corpses. Strangely, they weren't eating them. Instead, they were picking up the bodies and moving them to one side. Over there, several sound-mimicking beasts with swollen bellies lay prone, consuming the corpses brought to them. What's going on here? Batman wondered, observing the bizarre scene intently. You. Suddenly, one of the sound-mimicking beasts let out a painful cry, arching its back with all its might. Could it be? Batman immediately understood. Then, he saw several small, red creatures burst from the beast's rear. They hit the ground, squealing loudly. A closer look revealed they were miniature versions of the sound-mimicking beasts. The swollen beasts were pregnant and giving birth. Damn it! We can't let them reproduce. It was a lucky discovery. Even if all the adult sound-mimicking beasts were killed, the larvae would grow up eventually and create a whole new problem. Batman grabbed a card, formulating a plan. He moved to a mirror that allowed him to jump into the real world near the birthing beasts and leaped through. His sudden appearance caught the sound-mimicking beasts completely off guard. Landing, he immediately swung his blade, decapitating one of the pregnant beasts. Before the others could react, he spun around, piercing another's throat. In a flash, he had killed two of the sound-mimicking beasts. Ho 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 ho. The remaining beasts finally reacted and attacked. Time for some interference. Batman acted quickly, activating a card. The Darkwing Bat flew out of the mirror world, emitting an incredibly loud, piercing noise. The sound was unbearable, causing the sound-mimicking beasts to writhe in pain, covering their ears in a desperate attempt to block out the sound waves. Batman seized the opportunity, darting toward the remaining pregnant beasts, slashing their throats one by one. All the pregnant sound-mimicking beasts were dead, stopping their reproduction. The Darkwing Bat stopped its sonic attack and returned to the mirror world. The male beasts, enraged by the slaughter of their females, charged toward Batman, but Batman was ready. He grabbed the broken mirror, already on the ground, and dove through it. His huge body passed through the mirror fragments, disappearing into the mirror world. He dodged the beasts' attacks, causing them to crash into each other. Batman stood before another mirror, seeing the pile of sound-mimicking beasts in the real world. Perfect. Just like that. He took out a card with a golden bat design and inserted it into the card's summoning machine on his sword. Final vent. The Knight Rider's special weapon, the winged spearman, materialized in his hand. At the same time, the Darkwing Bat appeared behind him. Aha! Batman leaped forward with all his might. The Darkwing Bat transformed into a black cloak, striking Batman's back. The cloak expanded and spun around him in a spiral. This was the Knight Rider's final vent, flying slash. Batman, encased in the spinning cloak, burst from the mirror world, slamming into the pile of sound-mimicking beasts with devastating force. The impact reduced them all to a bloody pulp. Bang bang bang. It wasn't over. Batman couldn't control the move. After obliterating the beasts, he continued forward, smashing through several walls before finally stopping, crashing awkwardly to the ground. The cloak on his back reverted to the Darkwing Bat. Beep. The Darkwing Bat, excited by the carnage, screeched and began to feast on the remains. Hey, no human corpses. Batman, disturbed by the Darkwing Bat's attempt to eat a human corpse, warned it. The Darkwing Bat glared at Batman, then abandoned the human corpses and focused on the sound-mimicking beasts. Seems you still don't completely listen. Batman was slightly uneasy. Alfred, what's the situation? Master Bruce, all monsters within the asylum have been eliminated, but some inmates escaped. Batman felt a mix of relief and concern. The night wasn't over yet. Congratulations to Bruce Wayne for destroying the invading sound beast. You have been rewarded 3 survival cards. The electronic voice announced. 3 cards materialized in Batman's hand. One depicted a golden bird, and the other 2 had wing patterns against backgrounds of wind and fire. The survival card is a special card for Mirror World Kamen Riders. Using one card activates survival mode, greatly enhancing combat power. All 3 cards can be combined, and the upper limit of power is determined by the will to survive. Chapter 33. The next contained object, the fearful beast in the sea. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The will to survive fuels the power to endure. Is that just wishful thinking? Batman stared at the 3 survival cards in his hand, puzzled. He was already plenty strong. What would happen if he used all 3 cards? Everyone, head into Arkham Asylum. Watch out for the monsters and criminals inside. The police yelled from above. Seeing his chance, Batman slipped into the mirror world and vanished. Moments after Batman left, 2 tiny sound-mimicking beasts crawled out of the sewer water. Newborns, 1 male, 1 female, born into the murky water. They barely escaped death. Their bloodshot eyes glared at the corpses littering the ground, emitting low growls before turning tail and disappearing into the depths. The threat of the sound beasts was far from over, but the screen had already cut away, and no one knew what had just happened. Tony Stark, hey, Bruce Wayne, that armor of yours is seriously cool. If you get around to analyzing it, could you post your findings? I'd love to take a look. Tony Stark, some parts of the armor look like clothes. The materials and tech involved must be revolutionary. I'd love to incorporate it into my Mark armor. Nick Fury, I agree. Armor like that could be a game changer. Bruce Wayne, let's talk about it when I get back. Not sure what I can even analyze. Tony Stark, I'll be waiting. This combo of magic and tech is fascinating. It could really level up humanity. Vegeta, ha. Only weaklings rely on technology and armor. Tony Stark, what was that? Vegeta, isn't it true? Real power comes from within. That stuff is just a crutch. Sun Wukong, agreed. I've run into some high-tech stuff, but it's never been much help. Diana, I'm with you on that. I believe in my own strength as well. Thor, yup. Inner strength is the strongest. Loki, brother, maybe put down the hammer before you say that. Thor, hey. What's that supposed to mean? I'm plenty strong without Mjolnir. Besides, the hammer is part of me. Patton, why did the hammer suddenly get dragged into this? Tony Stark, humph. Technological advancement is inevitable. You'll all regret turning your backs on it. Zhu Xingtuan, exactly. Science and tech are essential. Not everyone is born with superpowers, so they need tools like this. Meanwhile, Batman ignored the screen's squabble. He had emerged from the mirror world and now stood on the rooftop of Arkham Asylum, overlooking the scene. The place was swarming with cops. Suddenly, Batman noticed something and peered ahead. He thought he saw a figure on a distant rooftop, but it vanished instantly. Did I imagine that? Confused, Batman was about to investigate when a message crackled over the police comm system. Attention! The Joker is robbing Gotham Bank. We need backup ASAP. Hearing about his old nemesis, the Joker, Batman's expression hardened. Forgetting whatever he thought he saw, he dove off the roof, ignoring the shouts of surprise. He jumped into the Batmobile and sped away. Under the Gotham night, a woman in revealing armor and wielding a sword leaped across rooftops. Wonder Woman, Diana. I thought he might be overwhelmed, so I decided to check things out. But he's exceeding expectations. He truly is the Gotham Bat. Diana said with approval. Then, she gazed down into the dark streets and alleys. In the shadows, all manner of crimes unfolded: drug deals, robberies, assaults. A pervasive stench of corruption filled the air. It's no wonder they call it Gotham, the crime capital. It's truly disgusting. Diana, who abhorred evil, grimaced at the depravity below. Marvel Universe, a Brooklyn neighborhood. Containment targets secured, the unstoppable kitchen knife and the sound-mimicking beast. Host reward, the unstoppable kitchen knife, and the ability to mimic sounds like a sound-mimicking beast. After the system announcement, an ordinary-looking kitchen knife appeared on Xie Yun's table. Ugh, that's all I get. And sound mimicry? Not exactly useful. Xie Yun reluctantly picked up the knife, and when he spoke, his voice shifted to that of a grizzled middle-aged man. I hope you give me a better reward next time. Xie Yun dropped the knife in disgust. Meanwhile, the screen continued with its predictions. Now predicting the next containment target, the fearful beast of the sea. Everyone's attention zeroed in on the screen. The sea is vast and dangerous. More entities lurk there than on land. Countless explorers have sought to uncover its secrets, but most have met their ends in its depths. As the announcement ended, a terrifying creature appeared, its body stretched over 50 meters. It resembled an octopus, covered in suckers and ending in sharp, blade-like tips. Its head resembled a giant, elongated crow, with a sharp beak, blood-red eyes, and a generally terrifying look. The backdrop was the dark seabed, unnerving many viewers. The fearful beast of the sea dwells in a hidden area of the ocean, its location unknown. Merely knowing its description, whether through text or image, can trigger terrible consequences. Initially, it will induce water aversion. Complete submersion in water will then teleport the victim to the fearful beast's domain, where it will pursue them. Even escaping back to the surface offers no lasting refuge. Over time, the water aversion will intensify. Any nearby water, even a glass, can trigger a teleportation to the fearful beast, an ordeal that ends only in complete eradication. The screen shifted to what looked like a laboratory, where two people in prison uniforms were examining a photo of the fearful beast of the sea. Chapter 34: The Terrifying Sea Beast. You are listening at novelfull.audio. D201, D202, got a good look? A doctor, shades on, asked. Yeah, we saw it. They both nodded. All right, get in the tub and soak. The doctor pointed to the water-filled tub. They looked confused, but started to comply. As they got closer, though, they felt a strong resistance, like the water was something truly awful. Every fiber of their being screamed at them to stay away. hurry up and get in. The doctor snapped, seeing them hesitate. Gulp. Swallowing hard, they forced themselves to walk to the tub and climb in. The next second, they vanished. Just, gone. Check the locator, now. The doctor barked. A few researchers frantically worked the equipment. 2 blips appeared on the screen, pinpointing a spot in the ocean. Doctor, they've been teleported to the Pacific, way down deep. The researcher reported. Analyze the exact location. We gotta find out where that thing is. The doctor ordered. The signal's gone. The blips vanished, leaving everyone stunned. All eyes snapped back to the tub. Ah. Ah. What did you do to me? Why is that monster chasing me? D-202 scrambled out of the tub, screaming. Water. Water. He saw the water on his body and completely lost it, pissing himself and running around like a madman, trying to shake off the water. The guards jumped on him and subdued him. The doctor ignored D-202 and walked to the other tub. His face went grim. D-201 was a mess, a pile of unrecognizable, disgusting body parts. After that, D-202's fear of water became crippling. He kept raving about the sea monster, and his descriptions were so vivid that everyone who heard him was affected. The idea that touching water would teleport them to the monster took root. Luckily, the shelter initiated sea-level memory wipes in time. The sea monster's influence needed physical memory to work. No memory, no problem. So, the shelter had to strictly monitor all communication channels to prevent the sea monster info from spreading, plus, any victim needed a memory wipe ASAP to keep things from spiraling out of control. As the screen went dark, the audience was visibly shaken. This creature seemed even more terrifying than the previous ones. One Piece World. On the Thousand Sunny. Wah! A monster over 50 meters long. And just knowing about it can get you killed. Usopp, Chopper, and Nami clung to each other, bawling. It's awful. We saw it. We're surrounded by sea. If we fall in, we're dead. I'm scared just looking at the water now. Usopp clutched his chest, lying on the deck and trembling, on the verge of fainting. Hey! Usopp's freaking out. What do we do? Chopper cried, panicked. Heh heh. Sounds awesome. I wonder if I can beat it. And if its meat will be tasty. Luffy, of course, didn't give a damn, just grinning. How is this awesome? Don't forget you're useless when you're in the ocean. Nami punched him upside the head. Don't worry, Nami Swan, if that monster shows up, I'll protect you for sure. Sanji struck a pose. Everyone, calm down. Remember, we don't have a problem with water. Robin reminded them, looking at the ocean without concern. Navy headquarters. These sea monsters are way worse than the Sea Kings. Fleet Admiral Sengoku scowled at the screen. This is a pain. A deep-sea monster. We're useless, Kizaru said with a shrug. Devil fruit users couldn't go into the deep sea. We'll have to ask Jinbei from the 7 warlords of the sea for help, Sengoku decided quickly. Fishmen were the only ones who could fight in those depths. Doraemon World. Eek. A huge monster in the sea. What's Doraemon gonna do? I can't swim. Nobita wailed, terrified. For a scaredy cat who couldn't swim, being teleported to the monster meant certain death. Don't worry, Nobita. I'll take care of it. Doraemon reassured him, already brainstorming solutions. He was confident his future gadgets could handle it. Marvel World. Nick Fury stared at the screen, his face grim. This kind of monster was a nightmare. Just knowing about it meant death if you touched water. In the information age, a photo of the monster could spread like wildfire, condemning countless people. We're talking over 1 million easy. The worst part was, this fear beast wasn't localized. Even with top-of-the-line gear, you were screwed in the deep sea. This monster was tougher to deal with than anything they'd contained before. The threat level was off the charts. Fury sighed heavily and pulled out an old pager from his desk. He'd probably have to call that woman back. No, with more and more of these things showing up, they needed Captain Marvel's firepower. On a private jet, Tony Stark watched the screen, dumbfounded. This monster's ability defied everything he knew. Just knowing the information triggered it. What kind of crazy curse was this? Damn it, I don't buy it. Jarvis, start a project to develop a Mark armor that can withstand deep-sea pressure, now. Tony's eyes flashed with determination. If he ran into this thing, he'd do everything to eliminate it. Yes, sir. Kamartaj, the Ancient One, remained serene. She'd lived for centuries, seen demons and dark gods from every dimension. Some had similar abilities to this sea monster. Just knowing about them could cause chaos, like Dormammu, who'd try to brainwash anyone who knew he existed into joining his ranks. Just teleporting when you touch water? An interesting curse, that the Ancient One said with a smile. Memory erasure was a simple solution. She could do that in her sleep. The sea monster was no threat to her. Chapter 35 Prediction appears, Leo's World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Viewers, you can relax knowing that seeing these terrifying sea monsters on screen won't mess with your head. Just as everyone was getting anxious, that line popped up on the screen, immediately putting everyone at ease. Now, we're going to pinpoint the universe where this sea monster will appear. After that announcement, everyone glued their eyes to the screen, waiting for the results. Universe located, Ultraman Leo World. Prepare yourselves. The electronic voice sent a shock through Fengyuan and Xie. It's actually showing up in our universe. Fengyuan took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Their world already faced daily attacks from aliens and monsters, and now this shows up. Who knows how many lives this thing will cost? The thought of past casualties made Fengyuan clench his fists. Easy, Fengyuan. Zhu Xingtuan said, trust your strength. When this monster shows up, you'll take care of it. Zhu Xingtuan's voice was serious. A monster from another universe? This was a whole new level of challenge. Meanwhile, the chat was blowing up. Usopp, thank goodness it's not in our world. We'd be toast. Luffy, yeah, my powers are useless underwater. Akainu, I hate agreeing with pirates, but I really don't want to deal with underwater monsters. Jiraiya, Ultraman Leo Universe. Weird name. I wonder what kind of tricks it has. Tony Stark, color me intrigued. As everyone was reacting, the scene switched to the Mac team base. It was late, and only Xie and Fengyuan were there. Tony Stark, what's with the high-tech base? Zhu Xingtuan, this is the Mac team's headquarters. We monitor the universe from a space station, watching for alien invasions. If aliens or monsters attack Earth, we strike immediately. Nick Fury, hold on. You guys do the same thing as S.H.I.E.L.D. But you're in space. Tony Stark, haha. That's a cool idea. Makes me want to build a space station. Natasha, you kidding? Space stations aren't exactly easy to build. Tony Stark, piece of cake for me. Tony Stark was already telling Jarvis to draw up plans for new projects. Seeing all these weird events made him realize the Earth was facing new threats. Having a space station like the Mac team, constantly monitoring the Earth and the universe, could save them a lot of trouble. Back at S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, Nick Fury watched the screen intently. His own space station, SWORD, was still under construction. He was curious to see how this Earth-defending organization from another universe fought. Meanwhile, Fengyuan and Xie ignored the screen and looked around, confused. Why were they on camera? Where did this photo come from? Zhu Xingtuan found a photo on the floor and picked it up, his face turning grim as he looked at it. What's wrong, Captain? Fengyuan, seeing Zhu Xingtuan's expression, went over to check on him. He took one look at the photo and his eyes went wide. The creature in the picture looked just like that sea monster. Xie and Fengyuan now knew what the monster looked like. Drip, drip, drip. The sound of dripping water filled the room. They both turned around at the same time. The Mac team's faucet was leaking. It was a simple thing, but their pupils dilated as if they'd seen something terrifying. Even I'm affected. What is this monster? That's when Xie Yun realized just how different monsters from other universes were. He struggled to stay calm. Captain. I need a tank of water, now. Feng Yuan took a deep breath, his voice firm. Are you crazy? You can't just jump in unprepared. Do you even know if you can use your full strength underwater? Zhu Hashiden thought it was too risky and immediately said no. He thought they should train first, focusing on resistance and pressure training, to make sure he could fight at full power in the deep sea. Captain. We don't know where this thing is, or how many people are in danger. If people get hurt, it'll be too late. Feng Yuan's voice brooked no argument. He knew the risks were huge, but with all the threats their Earth was facing, he couldn't justify waiting for special training. If people got hurt and aliens were still invading, they'd be in over their heads. They had to deal with it now, while they had the chance. Zhu Xingtuan wanted to argue, but seeing the look in Feng Yuan's eyes, he understood. He finally nodded. Okay, but you better come back alive. Zhu Xingtuan prepped a tank of water for Feng Yuan and let him dive in. In an instant, Feng Yuan vanished. Then, the screen cut to an unknown deep sea. The chat exploded. Diana, this Feng Yuan is nuts. He's just a regular human going in without any prep. How can he fight like that? Patton, exactly. This isn't how you prevent things from getting worse. Warring states, so reckless. Even if you have to send people, you need backup. A leader can't just run off like that. Tony Stark, if it were me, I'd be scanning the oceans and prepping weapons. There's no way I'd go in blind. Loki, humans are just as foolish in every universe. Vegeta, couldn't agree more. Sun Wukong, hey, don't underestimate humans. Frankie, that's right. Human power is off the charts. Piccolo/Sanji, Goku/Brook, you don't get to say that. It's Shield, Nick Fury sighed. How can the Mac team be so reckless? Are they even capable of protecting the Earth? He'd been hoping to learn from them, but now it looked like they should be learning from him. He'd never take a risk like that. Instead, he'd send in some poor sap to test the waters, attach some trackers, and figure out a strategy. Rushing in to die was just plain dumb. Just when everyone was sure Feng Yuan was a goner, Zhu Xingtuan's voice grabbed their attention. Zhu Xingtuan. I'm letting Feng Yuan do this because he has special abilities. Beyond your wildest imagination. Chapter 36 Ultraman Leo vs Contained Object The Terror Beast of the Sea. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After seeing Zhu Xingtuan, everyone wondered, what special abilities does Feng Yuan, this seemingly ordinary guy, have? Is he like a ninja, or does he have some kind of devil fruit power? Meanwhile, Feng Yuan found himself deep underwater. He fought through the crushing pressure and scanned the area, searching for the dreaded sea beast. Hoo 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 hoo, a bizarre roar echoed. It wasn't the sound of any normal creature. It felt ancient. Hearing it sent shivers down your spine, making it hard to control your fear. Feng Yuan spun around towards the sound and saw a horrifying monster rapidly approaching. The monster's lower body resembled an octopus, covered in tentacles tipped with razor-sharp claws. Its face was like a huge crow, and you could see rows of jagged teeth from a distance. This was the containment subject, the dreaded sea beast. Feng Yuan watched the beast draw closer, raised a fist, and the ring with the lion's pupils on it blazed with light. Leo, in a burst of blue light, like a supernova, Feng Yuan transformed into Ultraman Leo. Standing tall in the deep sea, he grabbed the charging sea beast with both hands and landed a powerful kick, sending it reeling backwards. Leo took a fighting stance, ready to battle the sea beast. In other worlds, people were blown away seeing Feng Yuan transform. Luffy, that's so awesome. He turned into a giant. What kind of power is that? Naruto, amazing. Is that some kind of summoning jutsu? So cool. Tony Stark, hold on, this isn't about cool. How can a human turn into a giant like that? Zhu Xingtuan, because Feng Yuan isn't from Earth to begin with. Tony Stark, what? Everyone gasped at this revelation. Star Cluster, Feng Yuan is a prince from Nebula L77 in the Leo constellation. His home world was invaded and destroyed by evil aliens, and he escaped to Earth. Zhu Xingtuan, the Fengyuan you saw before was the form Leo took while living on Earth. This is his true form. Tony Stark, what? That's his real face. How can such a massive creature disguise himself as a human? What kind of superpower is that? Nick Fury, this guy is an alien with a body that big. Fury stared in disbelief. He thought Fengyuan was a goner for sure. The Mac team had been reckless, but now reality was slapping him in the face. This Ultraman Leo universe was beyond comprehension. Meanwhile, the battle between Leo and the dreaded sea beast had begun. Leo moved freely in the water, displaying incredible speed. He closed the distance and unleashed a flurry of punches, battering the sea beast into submission. The blows were crisp and powerful, leaving the sea beast unable to retaliate. Ack! Leo followed up with a spinning kick that sent the beast tumbling. Before it could recover, Leo leaped onto its back. He hammered its body with relentless strikes. Ag! The sea beast roared in pain and rage. This was its hunting ground. Any creature that dared enter should be its prey. How had it ended up being beaten up by something so powerful? It was more than the dreaded sea beast could take. Hoo! The sea beast roared, its tentacles whipping out and ensnaring Leo's body from all sides. It pulled tight, immobilizing him and causing excruciating pain. Trapped by the powerful tentacles, Leo couldn't break free. The sea beast opened its maw and spewed a stream of dark red energy orbs, bombarding Leo in a fiery barrage. Now Leo was a sitting duck, taking a brutal beating. He struggled desperately to break the tentacle's grip, but the sea beast held on tight, denying him any chance to move his arms. Ag! Seeing Leo defenseless, the sea beast lunged with its massive body. It clamped its jaws onto Leo's head, trying to crush it to pieces. Ugh! Then Leo's battle cry changed. The color timer on his chest started flashing. A beam of red energy shot out from the timer, slamming into the sea beast. Boom! The blast ripped the tentacles free, sending the sea beast flying backwards. Leo seized the opportunity, leaping up and performing a backflip in the deep sea. He focused energy into his right foot and unleashed the Leo kick, slamming into the sea beast. Normally, Leo kick would kill any monster or alien, but perhaps due to the limitations of fighting underwater, the sea beast, while badly wounded, wasn't killed. Again, Leo saw that the sea beast was already severely injured and prepared to use Leo kick again. Boom! Suddenly, the ground behind Leo exploded, and two tentacles shot out, grabbing his neck. Then, a massive monster emerged from the ground, slamming into Leo's waist. It released its tentacles, sending Leo flying. Boom! At the same time, the seabed next to it erupted, and another octopus-like monster appeared. It crashed into Leo's side, knocking him further away. Zhu Xingtuan watched in shock through the monitor. Ocean monsters, two-tailed monster and gallows. Moro Hashiden recognized the monsters. They were both ocean dwellers. Why did they suddenly appear? Could it be that these two monsters happened to live in the same area as the dreaded sea beast? And were adopted as its underlings? Zhu Xingtuan guessed, shocked. His hunch was right. The two-tailed monster and gallows stood on either side of the sea beast like bodyguards. The sea beast slapped them angrily with its tentacles and roared. It seemed to be scolding them for being late. The two monsters took the abuse without complaint. Then, they turned their attention to Leo. Ding dong ding dong. Leo had just regained his footing, and his color timer was flashing rapidly. He was running out of energy. Chapter 37 Leo is in danger, the stars support him. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sudden appearance of two monsters put everyone on edge. Nick Fury, why two monsters all of a sudden? I thought there was just the one sea beast. Zhu Xingtuan, those are some local monsters. In our universe, there are tons of them roaming around, always a threat. The Mac team doesn't just fight aliens, we also deal with monsters right here on Earth. Nick Fury, seriously? How do people even survive? Kizaru, this one looks way bigger than that Neptune dude. Strange, now we're in trouble. 3 against 1. That's not good. Luffy, and what's up with Leo? Why's his chest light flashing like that? Star cluster, that means he's low on energy. Leo can only stay active on Earth for 2 minutes and 40 seconds. After that, he's out of juice and can't fight anymore. Tony Stark, what? 3 minutes? That's barely enough time to do anything. Why so little? Zhu Xingluan, Ultraman's energy comes from the sun. Earth's too far away to get a good charge. He has to rely on his own reserves. Plus, Leo has to split his energy to maintain a human form, so he's always running on fumes. He has to take down his opponent ASAP. Diana, that's cutting it close. What happens when he runs out of energy? Zhu Xingtuan, Leo reverts back to his human form, Feng Yuan. Naruto, isn't that a death sentence? How can a regular guy stand up to 3 monsters? While everyone was talking, Leo was getting pummeled by the monsters and was clearly losing. Cornered by the 3 beasts, Leo was on the defensive, unable to fight back effectively. He barely grabbed a tentacle of the 2-tailed monster when Gallows sucker punched him in the gut, followed by a chest stab from the sea beast. He managed to kick Gallows away but was immediately knocked down by the 2-tailed monster and the sea monster, barely able to get back on his feet. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. The timer on his chest flashed faster and faster. Leo was about to run out of juice. Feng Yuan would appear in the sea and would almost certainly be killed. Watching the scene on the screen, the star cluster took a deep breath and decided to help Leo. He hopped into the water tank and submerged. A few moments later, the star cluster appeared in the sea, witnessing Leo pinned to the ground and taking a beating from the 3 monsters. Everyone watched the star cluster, confused. Strange, that's the star cluster. What's he gonna do? Is he trying to back him up? Patton, he doesn't have any weapons. How's he going to help? Jiraiya, is this guy just going to get himself killed? Just when everyone was wondering what the star cluster was up to, Zhu Hashiden clasped his hands together, widened his eyes, and unleashed his ultra-telekinesis. A powerful psychic wave washed over the 3 monsters, affecting their brains. The 2-tailed monster and Gallows, who were attacking relentlessly, suddenly froze. Then they shook their heads like they were drunk, even bumping into each other. The sea beast was only dazed for a moment but quickly recovered, turning to face the star cluster. Zhu Xingluan looked uncomfortable. The telekinesis was draining his life force, and now he was suffocating at the bottom of the sea. The pain was 10 times worse than before. Get up, Leo. Now. Zhu Xingdan gritted his teeth and looked at Leo, who was still lying on the ground. Rarer. The sea beast roared, opening its mouth to charge up an energy blast, intent on taking out the star cluster. At that critical moment, Leo jumped to his feet and grabbed the sea beast's maw. Boom! The energy blast detonated in the sea beast's mouth. The sea beast roared in pain. Leo whirled around and kicked the sea beast away, knocking the 2-tailed monster and Gallows down like bowling pins. Hiya! Focusing his energy into his hands, Leo emitted a beam of light. This was his most powerful light skill, the L77 beam. The powerful beam sliced through the 3 monsters, triggering a massive explosion. Boom, boom, boom. The explosion shook the seabed, sending shockwaves everywhere. Leo scooped up the exhausted Zahoshi cluster and shielded him from the blast. Then, they both vanished. Mac Base, Zhu Xingtuan and Feng Yuan scrambled out of the water tank, gasping for air. Seeing them alive, many people breathed a sigh of relief. Chopper, that was close. I thought they were goners. Doraemon, I'm glad they made it back okay. Natasha, what did the star cluster do? Why did those 2 monsters freeze all of a sudden? Superpowers. Diana, Zhu Xingtuan is no ordinary human. You have some abilities, don't you? After seeing the question on the screen, Moro Hashiden took a few deep breaths and answered, Zhu Xingtuan, yeah, I have strong telekinetic abilities, and I use them to help Leo out sometimes. I can't kill monsters, but I can mess with them. Zhu Xingluan didn't want to get into his personal stuff. Even though they were in different universes and wouldn't affect each other, he didn't want to say too much. Nobita, superpowers. That's so cool. Nick Fury, so the leader of an organization that protects the Earth has superpowers. That's just great. Naruto, man, you're awesome, risking your life like that. Seriously impressive. Luffy, yeah, anyone who cares that much about his friends is amazing. Zhu Xingtuan, thanks. When Feng Yuan heard Luffy's words, he couldn't help but twitch his mouth. He was trained so miserably every day. Is that treasured? Natasha, sounds way more reliable than our director. The Marvel Universe, S.H.I.E.L.D. After Nick Fury saw that comment, he shot Natasha a speechless glare. Natasha pretended not to notice and looked away. What if monsters like that start showing up on our Earth? Hill suddenly asked. No way, it's a different universe. Patton immediately dismissed the idea. Don't be so sure. We've got aliens and crazy stuff in our own universe. What if there are some monsters sleeping somewhere? Hill said. Nick Fury stopped the rebuttal he was about to make. She was right, there might be monsters in their own world. And even if there weren't, what if something similar happened in the future and those types of monsters appeared on their Earth? Chapter 38 Distributing Rewards, Kaio Fist and Gunteras. You are listening at novelfull.audio. S.H.I.E.L.D. can't handle that monster. If it ever shows up, S.H.I.E.L.D. will be toast. The thought weighed heavily on Nick Fury, making the future look bleak. He took a deep breath, pulled the old pager from his desk drawer, and hit the button. That woman wandering in space needed to come home, now. Otherwise, that monster would stomp all over Earth and nobody could stop it. On a private jet, Tony Stark was stuck replaying Leo's fight with the monster. He couldn't shake the images. He and Fury were on the same page. What if a thing like that came to Earth? His Mark armor wouldn't stand a chance. You gotta be the same size to fight something like that. Giant robots, that's the key. The idea hit Tony like a lightning bolt. He remembered the giant robots from movies and cartoons. He always thought they were a pipe dream, but now it felt like a necessity. Jarvis, start a new project, Operation Giant Mark. Yes, sir. But sir, you've got a lot on your plate. I'm concerned about. Don't sweat it. I got this. Sleep is overrated. Tony waved him off, too impatient to worry about details, Taj. Leo and those stars are something else. Gui was intrigued. Of all the world she'd seen, only Leo's strength had really caught her eye. There was something special about the power of his L-77 light. Master, what happens if one of those monsters shows up here? Strange looked worried. The sea monster and Leo's local kaiju had both been terrifying. Relax, I can handle a few monsters like that, no problem. Gui sounded confident. Don't underestimate Master Gui's magic. A monster doesn't stand a chance. Modu chimed in. Strange's eyes went wide. Magic could be that powerful? Right then, Strange made up his mind to master magic. If he wanted to survive what was coming, he had to get stronger. Asgard, the Asgardians were glued to the screen, stunned. Leo's battle with the monster was something they'd never forget. Hey, bro, if you went up against those monsters, or that Leo guy, could you win? Loki smirked at Thor. Are you kidding me? 100%, Thor puffed out his chest. That kind of thing is nothing. A few hammer blows and some lightning, problem solved. Lucky for us that sea beast didn't pop up in Asgard. I would have taken it down myself and given it to Dad as a pet. Thor was still his usual bombastic self, not taking the sea monsters or Leo seriously. Thor, don't be ridiculous. Odin sighed. His son was too arrogant to see how dangerous Leo really was. Dragon Ball World, Goku was tearing it up on Snake Way. He's from a dead planet. Kinda like me. Goku remembered Raditz saying that his home, planet Vegeta, was destroyed by a meteorite, which was why he was sent to Earth. This Leo looks strong. If we were on the same Earth, I'd love to fight him. Goku's eyes burned with excitement. Damn it. This giant could actually be a threat. Vegeta stared at the screen in disbelief. He usually brushed off anything that appeared, but Leo had given him pause. The last burst of light from Leo felt like a real threat. like it could end him. Vegeta, always so self-assured, caught his breath. I'm not scared. If you show your face, I'll take you down. Vegeta clenched his fists, trying to psych himself up. He was a Scion Prince, after all. Uncle Piccolo, that Leo guy is super strong. If he was on our Earth, he could fight alongside us. Gohan watched Leo in awe. Humph, that's nothing special. Piccolo scowled, annoyed by Gohan's praise, but inside, he felt a mix of emotions. Why are aliens so strong? I need to get stronger, damn it. Doraemon world. Cool. Doraemon, can I get giant powers like that? Nobita's eyes were shining. If he could be that big, he'd win all the girls, and even beat up John. You could use the magnifying flashlight. Nah, I wanna look cool doing it. Why? You gonna fight monsters? Nobita froze, avoiding his gaze. Doraemon sighed and turned to the screen, thinking a monster like that would be a problem for their world. He wondered what gadgets would work. He had a million gadgets, but they were mostly one-time use, and he was running low on cash. Being broke sucks. Doraemon sighed again. DC Universe. Diana thought back to Leo's fight. Interesting. An alien who protects Earth. Sort of like the Green Lantern Corps. I'd like to test my skills against him. Leo had sparked Diana's fighting spirit. She could see he was a skilled warrior. If he came to this world, she'd want to challenge him. As for monsters like the Terror of the Sea, she'd take them all on. Size didn't matter to her. Congratulations on the successful containment of the sea monster. Rewards will now be distributed to Fengyuan and Zexingwan. Fengyuan receives the Kaio fist, and Moro Hashiden receives the giant robot Gunteras. An electronic voice echoed from the screen. Fengyuan suddenly felt a rush of new information, and Zhu Xingtuan found something like a controller in his hand. Alert! Alert! The base alarm went off, and something huge had appeared. Captain, we've got a problem. A giant robot just materialized on the ground. A frantic patrol officer's voice crackled over the intercom. Zhu Xingtuan immediately thought of the screen's reward. Hold your fire. I'm on my way. Chapter 39. The next object, 3D glasses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hearing about the giant robot, Zhu Xingtuan grabbed the remote and bolted from the base with Leo. King Kai Fist is a Dragon Ball technique that multiplies the user's strength. The stronger you are, the bigger the multiplier, but the greater the strain. Gunteras is a giant robot from some superstar god universe, designed to fight giant monsters. It's got incredible power and converts energy by sucking up oxygen. Its ultimate move. Slamming into the sun, boosting its heat 10,000 times and blowing up the whole solar system. The screen's explanations left everyone speechless. Tony Stark, holy crap. This robot can detonate the solar system. That's insane. I gotta study it. Even knowing how dangerous it was, Tony couldn't suppress his scientific curiosity. Besides, he was already building a giant robot. This could be a goldmine of information. Tony Stark, hey, Zhu Xingtuan, you gonna be studying this thing? Can you send me the data? Nick Fury pumped his fist when he saw Tony's message. SHIELD had to get their hands on data from a weapon like that. Zhu Xingtuan, let me take a look first. Zhu Xingtuan was still reeling. Why would the screen give him something so destructive? What was going on? He hoped nothing bad was about to happen. Thinking this, Zhu Xingtuan floored it, heading back to Earth ASAP. Just then, Sun Wukong posted a comment. Sun Wukong, even the King Kai Fist is a reward. How does that even work? Fengyuan, King Kai Fist. What's that? Sun Wukong, it's a technique to control your ki and multiply your strength in an instant. Jiraiya, multiply your strength. A move like that can turn the tables in a fight. Tony Stark, no way, multiply your strength. Leo Ultraman was already strong. Imagine him with that. After reading Sun Wukong's comment, Fengyuan sucked in a breath, then got a wild look in his eyes. He'd been worried about his enemies getting stronger, but now he had King Kai Fist. As long as he could really multiply his strength, he wouldn't be afraid of any monster or alien. Sun Wukong, just so you know, it puts a huge strain on your body. The higher the multiple, the bigger the strain. I can only use the King Kai fist twice. Vegeta, haha, only twice. Is that supposed to be your trump card against me? Forget it. Sun Wukong, don't underestimate me. When you face me, you'll see what I can do. Tsunade, Mr. Sun Wukong, could you tell us how to learn the King Kai fist? Jiraiya was stunned, then immediately gave Tsunade a thumbs up. Learning a move that multiplied combat power would be a game changer for Konoha, and with Tsunade's medical ninjutsu, the strain wouldn't be an issue. Sengoku, we want to learn it too. Sengoku caught on to Tsunade's plan and jumped on board. The Navy needed a power boost, and King Kai fist was the perfect solution. Nick Fury, Tony Stark, the Ancient One, Odin, and Diana all perked up, interested. A move like that had appeal. Sun Wukong, I can teach you, but I don't know if you have the power to use it. Piccolo, idiot. Don't broadcast it to the world, or the Scions will find the weakness. Sun Wukong, oh, right, sorry. Everyone groaned when Sun Wukong finally refused. They couldn't help but blame the screen for dragging their enemies into the mix. Vegeta, humph. Meanwhile, Zhu Xingtuan and Feng Yuan landed. In a clearing, a massive robot had appeared. Captain, we don't know where this robot came from. A team member rushed to Zhu Xingtuan, looking worried. Is that Gunteras? Zhu Xingtuan stared at the imposing robot, surprised. What? Captain, you know what it is. The other team members were stunned. Before Zhu Xingtuan could answer, the ground began to shake. Then, a series of explosions ripped through the earth, and a gray monster with whips for hands crawled out. Guden. Zhu Xingtuan instantly recognized it as a subterranean monster, Guden. Everyone, evacuate the civilians. The MAC team scrambled to move the onlookers, drawing their weapons and firing on Guden, but Guden wasn't fazed by the gunfire. Enraged, it lumbered forward, lashing its whips. Just when things looked dicey, Gunteras' eyes flashed red, and it stomped forward. It's moving. The robot's moving. Everyone froze, unsure what to do. Was this robot also an enemy? Captain. Feng Yuan looked at Zhu Xingtuan, then at the controller in his hand. Zhu Xingtuan snapped to attention, raised the controller, and yelled, Gunteras, obey my command. Gunteras stopped in its tracks. Gunteras, destroy the monster. Zhu Xingtuan gave the order, and Gunteras charged towards Guden. Captain, what's going on? The team members stared, baffled that Moro Hashiden could control a giant robot. I'll explain later. Evacuate the crowd. Zhu Xingtuan barked, dismissing his team. Let's see what you can do, Gunteras. Zhu Xingtuan watched Gunteras with a gleam in his eye. He couldn't transform right now, his ultra-telekinesis couldn't be used consistently, and Leo was fighting alone. This Gunteras might be the key to changing the tide on Earth. Back in the Marvel Universe, on the streets of Brooklyn. Containment object, the fearful beast of the sea, has been eliminated. Host receives feedback rewards and teleports others to the area where the fearful beast of the sea is located. Xie Yun heard the system's announcement. He felt a rush of new information flood his mind. Teleporting the enemy to the fearful beast of the sea. If it's someone like the Ancient One, that won't do much good. Xie Yun figured it was okay, but kind of useless. He'd have to hope for better rewards down the line. Meanwhile, the screens in front of everyone else were already showing the next item. Now taking inventory of the next containment object, 3D glasses. The screen showed a pair of 3D glasses like the ones you get at the movie theater, leaving many people confused. Chapter 40 Scary 3D Glasses, High-Dimensional Creatures. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nobita, these are just like the 3D glasses at the movies. They don't seem like anything special. Doraemon, Nobita, there's gotta be a reason they're being used for containment. Tony Stark, I'm curious, what's so great about glasses like these? Just then, a voice came from the screen. These 3D glasses look ordinary, like the ones you get at the cinema, but no one can imagine how terrifying they are. The screen then showed what looked like a laboratory. A man in a prison uniform sat in an office chair, 3D glasses in front of him. Subject D, 250, put on the glasses. I know, they're just glasses. What's the big deal? D-250 looked at the armed guards surrounding him, sighed inwardly, and put on the glasses. Immediately, the picture changed. The lab had turned into a barren desert, with what looked like a tall tower in the distance. D-250 was confused. He quickly took off the glasses, and the lab was back. He put them on again, and he was back in the desert. Nobita, awesome. Are these some kind of movie glasses? Tony Stark, if that's all they do, it's no big deal, right? Nick Fury, let's just keep watching. Where am I? Is this a movie? D-250 was disoriented. He tried to stand up and move around. It felt like he was really walking, and the sensation was real, not like watching a movie. What's that? D-250 noticed some strange shadows in the distance and walked closer to get a better look. As he approached, he saw bizarre, bipedal creatures. They were completely black, with clawed hands, cylindrical heads covered in red spots, and no discernible facial features. They looked incredibly strange. What are these? Movie monsters. D-250 reached out cautiously and actually touched one of the creatures. At that moment, the creature snapped its head around to look at D-250. Hi. D-250 instinctively greeted it, only to be attacked by its claws. SHK. D-250's chest was slashed with hideous wounds. The force threw him backward. Ugh. The pain made D-250 scream. Arg. The creature roared and more creatures were attracted. They charged toward D-250, roaring with rage. Stay away. D-250 screamed frantically. He ripped off the glasses, and the lab reappeared. He looked down at his chest. There were actually scratches on it. What's happening with D-250? Did he come into contact with an entity from another world? A voice came over the lab intercom, not even asking about his injuries. What the hell did you do to me? What are those things? Ugh. D-250 suddenly howled in pain. He didn't know what was attacking him. Wounds appeared all over his body, and blood poured out. Arg. D-250's scream was cut short as his throat was slashed. He collapsed to the ground. The 3D glasses lay nearby. Through them, you could see a large group of otherworldly creatures walking away, blood dripping from their claws. No one knows how the 3D glasses came to be. As soon as you put them on, you're transported to another world, a world populated by terrifying monsters. Once you make contact, they'll relentlessly hunt you down. Even if you take off the glasses and return to the real world, their attacks will still affect you. They won't stop until they kill you. So, no one should wear these glasses. If you see those creatures, don't touch them. Take the glasses off immediately. The viewers were stunned. They'd never seen anything so terrifying. Nick Fury, holy crap. What the hell is this power? Teleporting to another world, and those creatures can attack from miles away. That's insane. Tony Stark, this isn't science. What kind of superpower is this? Natasha, that ability is terrifying. Anyone attacked by those monsters would instinctively take off the glasses, only to find out they're still under attack. They wouldn't know where to run. Jiraiya, so, if you encounter one of those creatures, you have to kill them all. Sengoku, it's not that simple. There were so many monsters on the screen at the end. If you miss even one, it's over. Usopp, these glasses are scary. I don't even want to look at them. Tony Stark, I have a sunglasses collection. I can't even look at them anymore. Marvel Asgard. Hey, that's a bit like your stealth attack, right? Thor asked, confused. It's nothing like it. Loki shook his head vigorously. His method was to use illusions to cover his body, but those creatures weren't invisible. They attacked from a distance and could still pinpoint their target. That couldn't be explained with advanced magic. Odin couldn't hide his surprise. Being transported to another world was nothing new to him. The Bifrost could do that, but these little glasses could do it, which surprised him. What was even more surprising was the group of terrifying creatures, attacking across dimensions. No long-range attack could explain it. Magic fixed point tracking. More advanced than I have ever seen. What terrifying creatures are these? Odin's expression grew serious. If he encountered those creatures, he would never take off the 3D glasses unless he was sure he had killed them all. Imagine being suddenly attacked by something you can't even see. Taj, the magicians were shocked. Is this an attack from higher dimensional beings? Wang said in disbelief. He knew some gods could attack from a distance once they had made contact. Are these creatures all gods? No, if they were gods, they wouldn't attack with primitive claws, Gui explained. They only have the ability to strike from high-dimensional points but appear to be physically weak. Gui couldn't hide her surprise, that such a creature could have such an ability, yet be so physically weak. The contrast was strange.